Assalamu alaikum. So part two. So my video is not to talk to people to calm down on either side. I'm speaking to Muslim leadership and the common folk among non-Muslim Europeans who want to see more avenues for honest and open dialogue away from textual social media. Obviously, just reading text on the screen, people are just going to post whatever they want. Podcasts are a little bit better because you're actually seeing the person, and meeting in person. It's actually, it's better, probably the best option. But those are few and far between right now. So, yeah. So, like I said, there's two schools of thought on how Western Muslims should handle or tackle the issues of Islamophobia and people who don't like Islam. The first is to just strictly follow the Sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his companions when they were in Mecca. They were being tortured, they were being attacked, they weren't in a position of power. So their advice was to remain patient, to sort of repel evil with good and turn, that who was an enemy into like an intimate friend. Which has been successful in some cases. We saw after 9/11, Muslims were being attacked, and they did respond by, letting the people who attacked them dropping the charges if they were to learn about Islam. And in many cases, the people who did attack them ended up converting to Islam, or at least changing their opinions about it. But I think recently the second school of thought on this is to just keep doing what we're doing. And not really care about what people are going to think about us. And it's at this point is more important. People have kind of just closed their doors, closed their eyes to the possibility of learning about Islam. Which is I can totally understand where people are coming from with that. If there are acts of aggression against Muslims or a masajid, it's not our job to go to explain or address their contentions about Islam. As Umar Suleiman said on Al Jazeera, it's not my responsibility to give dawah to racists. Or as a secular Palestinian activist told me in the MSA, when we suggested talking to an Islamophobic figure, suggesting we should talk about Islam, he responded, we shouldn't be talking to them about Islam. If they want to learn about Islam, they should come to our open houses. So I can understand this sentiment. However, this method, at the end of the day, is not Islamically correct. But I can understand why people think the dawah is dead. In their eyes, there's no opinion trying to change their minds. Shaitan's taken over for them. But at the end of the day, even in Mecca, like the most racist people, the Muslims still didn't stop giving dawah to them. But again, this has become more the dominant opinion in 2020 to kind of just close their doors to the avenues of dawah, aside from the open houses, or if they want to read in a book, in part because Muslims' alliance with Marxist ideologies. So ever since I grew up as a young boy, Muslims in Islam, they had a really bad rap. There was heavy propaganda in the movie industry. We all watched movies like True Lies, Executive Decision, which showed Muslims as either bloodthirsty terrorists or lavacious womanizers. And you don't even think about Islam when you're watching these movies. It's like subconscious programming. So growing up, I didn't really see Muslims at all, really. I did go to an open house when I was in high school. They did organize us to go to an open house at a mosque, believe it or not. And that was the same mosque I ended up converting in. But Q 9/11, that's when the Islamophobia in the West really ramps up. We have Americans, especially white Americans, getting enraged, at Islam and Muslims, because in their eyes they saw them as a threat to the West, and when they knocked down these idols of capitalism, they saw that as the ultimate affront. So yeah, it is unfortunate. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't justify the way they feel. But there's more to the issue, and I think we have to understand where they're coming from in order to actually fully address it. So I would say that for the most part, when I converted, my experiences with the Muslim community were mainly positive. When I first converted, everyone gave me hugs. Everyone was really happy for me. Everyone had a general concern for my well-being. Everyone wanted to invite me over for dinner. I would even say that most of the Muslims, wanted to make peace, with the community, their greater community they were living in, with the non-Muslim population. They even wanted me to keep my culture. They wanted me to stay white Canadian. So I mean, they really rolled out the red carpet for me and other converts, and I did make a lot of great friends. I can also say a lot of the community had positive things to say about my conversion and made me into a better human being. I'm talking about my non-Muslim community now. They were very supportive of me for the most part. There were a few detractors here and there, but for the most part, they didn't express it publicly. And even if we had non-Muslims in my life who were angry at Muslims who said angry statements, they once they found out that I heard about it, they were actually apologetic, and they shook my hand. They said, "Hey, look, we didn't mean to offend you or anything like that." So I think on both sides, the media makes it out worse than people want to make it to be. Even at that time in Canada, most Canadians were against American foreign policy. Even the Progressive Conservative Party was against the Iraq War. It really wasn't until the Muslims' de facto alliance with the left in the 2010s where things really ramped up. To that effect, I'll talk about the first Ramadan iftar that I went to. And I was sitting down, and we had invitees from the Red Cross come in to speak. So these were non-Muslims. And this one guy came up, just white guy, and he started talking about the Red Cross and thanking the Muslims for their donations. There was this one Palestinian kid sitting 2 seats across from me, took one look at the guy, and then he muttered, "Okay, I'm white, I don't like you." So basically mocking him, just shrugging him off as a terrible human being. And I didn't really think much of it at the time when I first converted. Now I can kind of understand why these kids feel this way. If the only white people we ever met were the IDF, American Border Patrol cops, and the white kid who made fun of your sister or mother's hijab, you're not going to think very highly of them. So it's a very poor pool of white people to be associated with. So I didn't think much of it at that time, but I think it was kind of a taste of what was to come. So once I went back to university in 2014, that's when I saw that Muslims were being torn between being practicing Muslims and joining the MSA and following more of the Sunnah and trying to reach out, have the manners of the Prophet, and that's the best way you can be representative of your religion, to more of the non-practicing Muslims who were more nationalist, being steered in the direction of shifting their anger towards basically anyone with white skin. So most of these Muslims who joined these groups, they didn't pray at all. They believed in their heart of hearts that it was impossible to be racist towards white people. Even I know people who were Hafiz of the Quran were starting to think this way. And even for whites who protested at their pro-Palestinian rallies, they still had the same opinions of them. They interrupted our MSA's Islamic Awareness Week to hold a pro-Palestinian protest. They brought in a comedian who expressed really anti-white sentiments, and a lot of non-practicing Muslims got caught up in this. And I remember even this one guy, he gave a Friday khutbah. He was, he was practicing Muslim. He was a Hafiz of the Quran. I remember I friended him on social media, and he posted a 2-panel joke on Facebook about how a black gang was talking to ISIS and basically said, don't bomb the hood. We didn't do anything to you guys. To which ISIS responded, "Okay, we'll just bomb the white neighborhoods." And he got several likes from many Muslims. So this level of mutual animosity, superseded whatever happened in 9/11 to a large extent. And simply put, the Muslims, the non-Muslims, especially non-Muslim whites, are responding in kind by having even more anger at the Muslim community, because really the only Muslims they see on TV are the liberal, non-practicing Muslims that are pushed by the left, and not hearing any other voices in the Muslim community. So to sum up, there's a lot of animosity going on all sides. And in part 3, I'm going to talk about more the implications of that.